Welcome to Heartfire Sessions. My name is Krista. I'm your host, and in this episode and in a few episodes to come, I am speaking with Jayde Crystal. Jayde has been a friend of mine for a while. We met at a holistic expo in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and we've been keeping in touch just through text messages back and forth over the last few years. This is the first time we actually sat down and had a really long form conversation. So I'm really excited to share it with you. We actually talked for about 3 hours. So this is going to be a few episodes. And I hope that you enjoy it. Jayde has a website. I'm going to put it in the description below. So go ahead and take a look there. It's jaydeCrystal.com. And she is also launching a 13-week coaching course coming up. And she's going to tell you a little bit about that in the video as well. And please go visit her website and check it out. While you're here, before you do that though, please hit that like button, share this video with a friend that you think might enjoy it, and subscribe, please, and hit that little notification bell. I love having more friends. Welcome. Thank you for joining me on this journey.
I know like what I've been working on is women's womb work and all the feminine essence of things, because just being in that protective sovereignty of your field and that containment of your field while staying in your womb actually allows you to open your heart and be contained. So you're in the world and you're reading it and you're feeling people feeling you, and you're reading the information you need, but you're doing it from over here and they're over there. And I've been playing with those energetics because I feel like that's part of the sovereignty we're coming into. But
yeah. I know in pranic healing, we're taught to scan using our hands, but I found I was like, I need to not be sticking my hands in other people's energy fields right now. I was like, so I'm using more clairvoyant, more intuition, more that type of scanning rather than using my hands, just because I want to have more distance from what I'm perceiving.
yeah,
It's like, I don't want to stick my hands in all of that.
pranic was a beautiful gift to me because it really opened my akashics and it allowed me to channel through. But pranic, all of them, all the healing modalities that are out there, Reiki, I would say it's a little bit more corrupted just because you spend a lot of time up here. But even that's coming down because there's so many people doing it now, and they are integrating past lives from Lemuria and Atlantis, because that's where these came from. And like the Mayans were using it, after the Egyptians were using it, but all of these modalities have come into patriarchal systems and made them economical. So, and then especially pranic's a really good example. It's really tried to control that, and I find it's extremely expensive. But I mean, theta healing's pretty expensive too once you put in travel costs. But I don't know. I started with pranic. It was my awakening. I definitely was already using colored lights, but there's just some stuff I didn't agree with, like the crystals. For instance, like I can tell my crystals to go to sleep. So I can have them in my bedroom and they don't affect me. Right. And so it's like a relationship you establish and they listen to you. So kind of pranic lost me in some of those places. So I just started using it as I remembered.
Pranic healing tends to, I've talked to Bill about it quite a bit because Bill knew Master Choa personally. And he said there were a lot of things that Master Choa did and would do that that he didn't include in the pranic healing system, and that he tried his best to make it as safe as possible for people who were not very awake.
Well, I always feel Master Choa working with me ever since. Like Marilee would obviously always correct me and stuff, and she's very much by the book. And I was like, this is why your site is blocked, because like, yes, we need to follow some parameters, but there comes a time in consciousness where you expand. And we were high priestesses. We had so many initiations before. There's no way we even have time right now to redo those. We're supposed to merge energy with physical. So we're supposed to access them from the Akashic realms and get them through. There might be a little bit of initiation to bring them back through into the physical, some sort of challenge or something you have to let go of now to overcome, to reclaim it. But but no, like we should be able to expand our consciousness and come out of it. And Master Choa was with me right from the beginning. Like he still works with me now, even though I don't necessarily follow the pranic books. Now, that being said, when there is something really physical going on that I cannot figure out, I will pull out my pranic manual and follow that
Yeah.
protocol, and it will help me.
Yeah.
So there's that, but I always feel him wanting this to be expanded, but there was a lot of fear and safety and energies, and
Yeah.
he died young. He didn't,
Yeah.
there's cell foods now. There's things that we found out about the metabolism and the body that can prep our cells to hold more spiritual energy so that we're not passing as fast and we're still holding huge energies. So it was a
Mhm.
time of that in a way too. And also they were not the first stages of waking of course, but they were one of the parts of the major movement when pranic all came out. So
Mhm.
it is interesting for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I find learning the rules is good. However, you need to not get stuck in just constantly obeying the rules in pranic healing.
Or not
Because,
seeing progress. Yeah.
yeah, because those rules are in place as guidelines to help you grow, but when you get to a certain point, you grow beyond the need for them.
Yes,
And,
exactly. And if you
and
stay in them.
yeah, and you need to understand how energy works and that those rules are there for you to help your understanding and grow.
Mhm.
But it's like those rules are also meant to like learn them so then you know how to properly break them.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
and how to
Totally.
expand beyond them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree because there's a level of consciousness, and even I see this in a lot of my healing clients that are healers. So they're not trusting. There's like layers of trust they need to work on because it's really hard to handle the truth of this world, especially right now,
Hmm.
and be in love and still
Yeah.
be in the embodiment of love. Like even it's like challenged and being in the embodiment of love.
Oh, that is
And
my challenge like since 2020.
oh, it's so hard. I know right now I'm working
Yeah.
on universal virtues and laws of tolerance and the
Mhm.
law of contraction. The law of attraction. I'm working on my virtues so that I can master those.
Mhm.
And patience and tolerance are the ones that are standing out, because it is challenging time watching people treat how they've been treating. But I've been like
Mhm.
that since I was a kid. I was born into gangsters. We had jewelry stores and we had some normalities, but I had wolves and we had jewelry stores, and I knew what cocaine was when I was 5. I was I
Mhm.
was dropped into a very stagnant bloodline
Mhm.
that surrounded me with some of the worst attributes of humanity. But the thing is, those people also um, drugs nudge us in the wrong direction of our personality. So there was also beauty and heart and uh, so much talent and gifts in people, because most of those people were trying to self-medicate their wounds they didn't know they had, right?
Mhm.
Or the brainwashing of society that's also very prevalent. That was it, I kind of call it the Barbie lines, where we're seeking this like plastic perfection and molding our body with steroids and drugs and plastic surgery and stuff. So I kind of grew up in the cliques that were into that stuff.
Mhm.
My throat chakra's clearing
Mhm.
as I talk
I can
about this.
feel it too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's so I grew up in that, and I feel like it was really interesting because the essence of people is still there. There was still light in it. Obviously, my wolves came down with me. I thought that was really interesting as I write my memoir that my wolves came down with me, spirit animals. I have 3 spirit animals that will reincarnate with me.
Mhm.
And one of them, she's reincarnated as a cat now. So she reincarnates with me the most, but I don't want 3 animals right now. But yeah, so I have my one baby girl, and the other 2 are always with me because I don't always tell people that I had wolves when I was a kid, and healers and readers or people that are partnering with me in energy work will be like, oh, I seen wolves around you. It's pretty cool. But I digress. But the whole thing that I grew up in really later on didn't make a lot of sense with the trauma I was going through as a kid, but no one would help. And in my like tiny heart and brain, like heart, huge heart as a kid, um,
Mhm.
it like I couldn't understand why people wouldn't help, like when someone else was suffering, and it was also family, and it was like what. But now obviously as an adult I think some people didn't know what to do, and
Mhm.
there's some other factors obviously in that, but energetically, I knew from a very young age, like, what is happening on this planet? Like, this is so weird. Like, people aren't working together. They don't want to help each other. They're hurting each other on purpose. What is happening? So very interesting.
Mm-hmm. That is, I had no idea. Like it's interesting because we haven't gotten to talk very much and share like our life stories. So I did not know that about you at all. And you mentioned earlier that you have some family from Trinidad.
Yeah, my mom is from Trinidad, and so she's East Indian Trini, so Indian Trini. I also have friends, like a set of my best friends are from Trinidad, and they're Caucasian Trinidadian. So there is, and then I actually do have some African American Trinidadian. So it's a very big mix in Trinidad of what you can get. And my grandpa, I love him. He loved me. He was so different with me. I don't know why. I don't know if he just got older and just kind of realized the error of his ways through all of the dynamics that happen in our family. But he never hurt me. I mean, he got mad and he'd yell, but he never hurt me. But like my mom has scars on her back. My birth mother has scars on her back. And there's a lot of that she was an alcoholic growing up. My dad was into the drugs, she was into alcohol, and it was all coping mechanisms, of course, but she has scars on her back from Trinidad. And there's a lot of there was a lot of family generational curses and things I had to get through because there was misuse of voodoo. The women were attacking each other. Even that dynamic still playing out in my family. I've just ejected myself and I will not participate. And then how I'm trying to balance the karma is I'm sending her energy, and I don't hate anymore for my past. I send her love. But when we physically get together, that she tries to play that dynamic out without even knowing, and I won't play it. So what I've been doing is in my work, I'm trying to help as many women as I can and bring the bonds of the womb and the heart web that were broken in the witch burnings back together. Because I believe from my lineage, they took us out, the women out first in the witch burnings, because we were the strongest. Everyone's been in a womb. Everyone's connected through that womb or their hearts. So, and it should be both, but the womb web was a bit damaged because they had women attacking each other. So I try to just kind of play into all of that, because that plays out in my family lineage. That plays out in how women treat each other, and when they, take each other's partners or sleep around, or our mistresses, things like that will still play out from this womb web that's repairing.
Or just like catty and mean and manipulative.
Or gossipy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or just ousting people because they didn't like something that the girl did or something, even though it was very minor. I'm in Edmonton where I live, I've actually watched people get people fired, like from their jobs. Like, people need those jobs. Just because you don't like something they do in their personal life, like, suck it up, get it together. Like, so I don't know. I see that playing out still, and I try to balance it wherever I can.
You've had an interesting life.
What's your story that I don't know?
My story that I don't know. Yeah. Oh gosh. Mine is very different from yours. So I grew up with, my family is Christian, and but my parents were brand new Christians when I was a little girl. So I think my parents became Christians when I was like 2 or 3 years old. So they were like zealous, like all new converts are.
Yeah. We're going to do everything right, and we're going to do it like this, and it's going to be perfect.
Yes. And they still are quite zealous in some ways.
Yeah, and I always had a strong faith to Jesus and God. I think I know that's what got me through, and reading books. But yeah, I love all religions. I think we're different paths up to the same mountain.
I'm the same way. I've got, I will always have a really strong connection to Jesus, and he's been my best friend since I was like a teenager. But it's like I can't ascribe to the notion that all other faiths are going to hell.
No. I know, I agree. I feel like in every single religion, I've studied Islam, I've studied Al-Mahadin, called Druze, I've studied Buddhism. I am crazily into yogic philosophy and Hinduism, even onto right
Mhm.
now. I was reading for hours yesterday, and just integrating and meditating with it. And
Yeah.
I used to joke that my religion is Jadeism, or loveism, because I just took the love out of all these religions, because you could see the common theme and you could see where humans were corrupting it, just from
Yeah.
like superstitions and
Yeah.
fears. And I think that, well, I know now, working with people's bloodlines, because I do a lot of ancestral work. So we go to their
Mhm.
family tree, anything we track to we do it theta, in
Mhm.
a theta field, but anything that we track from their belief systems that could be gumming them up. So, for instance, my family had a lot of Catholicism in it on my dad's French side, and then we had slavery and voodoo and spirituality on my mom's side. And sometimes what happens is, now I'm here, I'm the physical representation, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to do energy work, and I'm going to do pranic, and I'm going to do theta, and I'm going to do lemuria, and oh, I have these past lives, and I'm doing that and I'm pushing forward. My whole family genetics start to activate in my in my holodynes, in my subconscious, like, no, no, this is not safe. We are just Catholics. We are just this. So you can have like 3 or 4 different programs running as you
Mhm.
try to move forward, and that can start to um hinder the growth. But you can track those out, and that's what I do, is work with the
Yeah.
family to
Yeah.
actually, so if I heal something, my whole family tree is getting healed. Like, we're getting that out of there. We're not doing
That's
it for the
awesome.
next generation. So that's been really beautiful and profound,
Mhm.
because they do want to shift and change. They see that there's been mistakes,
Mhm.
made. Even transhumanism, this transgender. Um, I got some peace on it the other day, because I always said the children coming out are rainbow children. They're the pure, pure souls. These next waves of children, um, anyone I'd say right now that would be like even 11 years old, maybe even on to 15 and down, are rainbow children, and they barely had any past lives. They're extremely pure souls. So they come down here and it's extremely abrasive, first of all, but they knew that coming in.
Mhm.
And that's why we have all these media manipulations going on too, about gender confusion, because these children, they have, okay, so masculine and feminine, humans call it that, but these are energy polarities that exist in nature, and they're natural biologic. So whatever we want to call it is fine, but we have constricted ourselves. All of us have constricted ourselves in this definition of masculine and feminine. And if you add in the corruptions from the religions and the control pieces of, like, a woman should be in pain every cycle because she has sinned, all that stuff,
Mhm.
all of that constructs is somewhat enslaving us. So they do need to be shaken up, and these rainbow children have come down. Now there are evils in
There
play.
is
There's
there
another side coming against us. So they are trying to take
going
that
too,
and
but
manipulate it where they want it to go.
yeah.
Right. So there is a need to protect the children. There is still a need to stand for what we believe in, for natural biology. But also, this messiness is some of that constructs being ripped down, I was shown, and to
Yeah.
trust the plan. And that even when it
It's a big
feels like it's
mess right now.
right, it is. And so many people suffering needless.
And for me, I started exploring other faiths in my 30s. I waited rather late in life. So it was in my 30s that I started. A friend of mine gave me a book that kind of blew my mind. It was this Hindu guy who had was a Swami who had lived with Paramhansa Yogananda, and it was his
Mm,
story of his life with Yogananda. So I was reading through it, and I was just it shook up my world at the time because
mhm,
I was reading stuff in there, and he was talking about different spiritual experiences that he's had, how it feels when he's meditating and when he's with God, and at the time I was like, wait, so people who aren't Christians can also experience that? I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
I was so sheltered. I had no clue. I thought like no, the only way to experience that closeness with God is through Christianity with Jesus, through the Bible and prayer. And I was reading this and I was like, oh, so this guy's experiencing like the same stuff I experience. I'm meditating and in prayer and stuff, and just spending time with God in my bedroom. And it shook up my world. And then I went crazy reading like everything I could get my hands on. For like a year, I read like 7 to 10 books a week.
I love that. And I would say that you think you started late maybe, but we started earlier than even generations before us, you
Yes,
know?
yeah,
Like
we
I'm pretty
did.
sure my first like my friends who also knew Master Choa and brought pranic healing
Mhm,
to Canada, they
mhm,
started in their late 30s, almost 40s
mhm,
when they were doing it. So we definitely have improved since then, but every piece, every layer works together. And it's
mhm,
not that any generation or wave is better than anyone else. Like everyone's preparing the groundwork. Like there's a time on this planet where we were so locked in karma, we were so stuck here that a lot of like I believe I'm a general and I've come from another planet. I've come from you and I've come to help. But I got stuck here for a bit in karma, in karmic cycles. And then what happened was we sent out whatever you want to call these beacons of help. We sent out these energies, ET phone home type thing,
mhm,
telepathically. And then more compassionate, loving, evolved beings, because that's what the universe is full of. Earth is evolving. It's in a mirror dimension to protect the
mhm,
rest of everything from its progression, because there is violence here. There's been evils that come down trying to take this planet over. So
mhm,
for a while we were stuck. There was no the parameters around the planet that the evil had put up. We couldn't get in. We could
mhm,
barely get people in. So then we started getting people in through the birthing cycles, but you have a layer of amnesia that you come through here. So you're
mhm,
only going to remember so much. As you build consciousness on this planet and then reincarnate, you can retain the consciousness and start to build on it. So if I was to say, God forbid, pass tomorrow, I would remember my consciousness and I could take up that mantle even if I was reborn on Earth. But a lot of us were getting stuck here. And the sticking wasn't even totally our choice. It was light workers, star seeds coming down, and these entities that people don't believe exist anymore latching on to feed off this child as a battery source. So then what happens is this child is nudged and nudged and nudged. Their destiny's over here, but they're nudged drugs, they're nudged fighting, violence, sex addiction. Like they're just nudged into all of these toxic things that the entity that's feeding on them wants to get
yeah.
through them.
Mhm,
And then all of a sudden their life is nothing and they're stuck here because their karma, they have to repay their karma, the rules on the planet. So karma started shifting 5 years ago here. We
mhm,
because there's too many people trapped. And then also just from I would say even the 60s onward, the planet, we anchored enough beings of light
mhm,
that it started to spread like wildfire. And now all the limitations of the planet, the energetics that they put around the planet, I call them grids, are coming down. So more light workers are flooding in. So now they're trying new tactics, but good
mhm,
always wins. And they have to tell us the truth. This is another universal law. So if you watch movies and shows, they have to tell us the truth. So they are. I think I laughed yesterday. There was Pope's exorcism is coming out. And I was like, well, at least they're finally telling you. At least they're finally
Yep,
telling.
exorcism is real. There's some entities attached that need to be removed.
And
Yeah,
there's power plays in play with masculine and feminine. Like when
yeah.
I first opened my Akashics, I had a lot of memories. I help people with past life regression therapy. I think you know, but maybe not.
Mhm,
And I've been privy to witness a lot of lives because that's a second thing that's going on. A Course in Miracles talks about this, the witnessing. So if you are in the Holy Spirit and you are in spirit, I can witness for you having a struggle or a challenge. Or if someone in front of me they call it insanity. They call believing in fear, this false persona we've made up, the ego, not to hate it, but
mhm,
it's a false persona that's actually insane that would want to kill us. So they say like you're almost insane for listening to it, but it takes a lot to unravel, which they have compassion for too. But we are supposed to witness. So if I know I'm in a holier place, it's not always easy. People test you, but you are witnessing from that place. And then I found with the women energetics, with the healing the womb and these witch burnings, my throat is so funny right now. Healing these witch burnings and everything, we need to witness each other.
mhm,
So there's some past lives I can just clear off people. It'll be like sitting there like a shedded skin. They already dealt with it. There's other lives we have to sit there and I need to bring them to so they can witness with me to
mhm,
actually clear them. And so the witnessing is really important right now.
Mhm.
Witnessing each other. So
Yeah.
spreading that light.
And just being open to each other and,
Yes. Open in
just
a way that's contained though.
yeah,
Energy is information and
like
motion. So
open
if you're
within
over
a safe
here,
container.
yeah, if you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm experiencing you right now, experiencing me, but we're both in our own fields, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm. I love it.
I love
So
it.
so you became a reverend this year? Is that right?
Yes, I did.
So cool.
Yeah,
So
I
how's that been going
did.
for you? Are you going to
I
start a
got
ministry? Like,
ordained and we're I'm still figuring out how that's all gonna look.
mm,
Yes. But I think my YouTube channel is part of it for sure.
nice. I
Yeah.
love this.
It's just having conversations with all sorts of different people, all on
Mhm.
spiritual topics.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought of doing
Gosh.
ordained ministry to marry people. I think would be really cool. Do
Mhm.
spiritual marriages. Um, that's another thing that's under attack on this planet is sacred relationship.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, okay, so wars, how many wars were started from love? You know, so
Mhm.
the woman's heart chakra is bigger for a reason. We have different size chakras between masculine and feminine because we're
Mm.
supposed to have an even energy exchange. But what they've taught, especially in like mainstream music, is a great example. But movies and shows, of course, too. If you look, mainstream television has allowed violence to come on to everything because under the guise of science, under the guise of studying, but if you listen, how many times does a show say murder? Every show pretty much now, like they
Yeah.
because they've normalized this as science and crime investigation, and things like that, but they're just slipping in more and more violence because our psyche can't tell the difference between if I hurt you or if I hurt me or if I'm watching something else being hurt or if that's fake or not. Our psyche doesn't know that, and
Your
it starts to go
your
into defensive.
subconscious doesn't have that
Yes.
filter.
And then the other thing
The
is the
consciousness does.
masculine and feminine. So they
Mhm.
they are attacking masculine at massive levels right now. People are castrating themselves, right? I wonder if this is
Mhm.
anyway.
I think
Sorry, I'm
it's
gonna have to
both
keep
of us.
clearing my throat.
I'm feeling it. I'm not
Yeah.
coughing yet, but I'm feeling it. It's both of
And
us.
I've tried to have this conversation with other people, and our Zooms haven't even worked. So today, when I was like, "Oh, Zoom's not working," I was like, "Maybe," but now it's going to try something else. But I'm protected.
Yeah.
This path is closed from evil, and Archangel Michael is protecting me, and Creator's coming right through me.
Mhm.
See, cleared up better. So, the other thing they're doing in media is they're degrading dads. They're making them look weak and like silly and like not sexy and all of these things that they can. And then you bring in the music and it's like you should be promiscuous and you should be totally sexually free and you should, because that's your creative energy, but it should be contained within yourself.
Yeah.
And you should have a clear understanding of the direction you're wanting to go with that sexuality. So if you want to have multiple lovers, great, but you should have a jade egg practice and you should know how to attune your oxytocin and you should know how to select those sexual experiences to enhance both of your energy fields. You shouldn't just be meeting someone at a bar that could be toxifying your system because now they just put a whole bunch of wounds inside of you, right? From that. Um, or you can go the family route, which is the natural biology of this planet that is
Mhm.
becoming under attack, but also the hormone disruptors, the GMOs. There's just so many booby traps in society right now that are all even causing people to choose the wrong partner. And
Yeah.
people aren't choosing, a lot, majority of people unfortunately are not choosing like, oh, these attributes match me and oh, this person's compatible with me. They're choosing from either corrupted hormones, birth control, GMOs in the food, air fresheners, Bed Bath and Beyond, like that kind of stuff is so bad for you. If everyone could stop, and anyone listens to this, stop using air fresheners that are commercialized, but and cleaners and shampoos and conditioners, like they get us at all levels and all angles. But the family biology is what we're all craving. And so
Mhm.
you have all these gangster societies is a really good example. You have all these men presenting as alpha males, and you have these women gravitating to the bad boy because they're presenting with a lot of like power and aggression and that stamina, we're craving from the masculine men, but then they're totally weakened and wounded from their brainwashing. They're totally like, oh, women are all trouble. And yeah, probably the wounded girls are, but people will tell you who they are if you can listen, and
Mm-hmm.
you can choose a better partner, and you can find the women amongst these wounded girls, just like you can find the men amongst the wounded boys.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to work through to really establish back our biology.
Mhm.